One or two more questions. I don't want to bore you to death. Yes, sir.
Mr. Speaker, what are your thoughts on how the next 12 months or so of the Republican election campaign might play out, and do you see any new unnamed candidates that might surface?
Well, by definition, if they're new unnamed candidates, I would not foresee them. Look, I think next year is very simple, as I said to you earlier. We're in trouble. I mean, you look at the Pew poll last week. We've had as bad a damage to our brand as I can remember in many years. There's zero reason to believe Washington's going to get any better in the next year and a half. The Democrats are on offense. They are totally ruthless. They're going to do whatever it takes. We seem to be tired and confused. That's just a fact. I'm being honest. I'm not trying to attack anybody. I'm just saying you got to start with the team on the field, and you got to say, can you win the game? I am convinced if we spend the next year and a half building a clear case for a better future, that we can beat the Democrats with a better brand. But if we spend the next year and a half in normal politics, doing normal things, we're going to get beaten badly. That's that simple. Now, where are we in the presidential nomination? I'm going to say a couple things that a few of you may find too startling. This whole process is stupid. Any of you are in business. You get sworn in January 2009. The election is November of 2008. The first vote in Iowa is in January of 2008. We are standing here at the end of March. Some of these people have been campaigning for 4 months.
2 years.
2 years. I mean, there's a point. Do you realize how banal, how boring, and how narrow you get if you spend all day, every day calling for money and running around the country saying to county chairman, wouldn't you please help me get to the Oval Office? Because I'd really like to be in the Oval Office because, it's oval. I mean, what's the long-term historic meaning of that campaign? And so Oprah invents Senator Obama, who we all learn rapidly is in fact a terrific guy because he was terrific, and now he's being terrific, so we all think he's terrific because, after all, isn't it terrific? What does that have to do with governing a great country? It's pop culture, but in the end, the American people, look, this is a gamble. I'll be honest, I've been at this business a long time, so you can decide later if my gamble shows I'm clever or I'm out of touch with reality. The average American is smarter than the analysts. The average American understands pop culture. I mean, they look at American Idol for amusement, but that's not where they go for brain surgery. The problem is the politicians are so lacking in self-confidence and so lacking in historic knowledge that they think they have to be on American Idol. Ronald Reagan never thought that. I mean, he knew everything. He knew vastly more about entertainment than any current politician. And he understood the difference. Ronald Reagan's speeches were filled with facts. Go back and read them. Because he thought that you have two parts of your brain. You have this is entertainment and this is serious. And on the serious side, you want to hear from a serious person with a serious message in a serious way. And on the entertainment side, you want to be entertained. So people nowadays think they should announce on Leno or Letterman or the Comedy Channel or the Weather Channel or Animal Planet or whatever. And you look at that and you think, hey, have you just lost your mind? You have no sense of dignity. We're talking about the presidency of the United States. You don't have the nerve to say, I think I'll do it in a formal statement in a structured setting and it will have real meaning. And I think I'll write a document worth you reading. Abraham Lincoln at Cooper Union in February of 1860 gives a 300-word speech, which he personally spent 3 months at the Law Library in Springfield writing, personally. And that's the only speech he gives for the whole year. He goes home, he repeats it in Rhode Island once, Massachusetts once, New Hampshire once, goes home, and for the rest of the year when people say to him, what's your position? He says, reads the speech. And he has the nerve and the courage and the discipline to say, this is about the fate of the United States, and I have spent 7,300 words telling you what I think, and if you don't think it's worth 7,300 words, you don't want me to be president. Because I don't need to be president of a country that thinks we have to be on vaudeville. So I start from there. Second, How long would you guess it takes for a campaign to rise and fall?
Overnight.
Not quite overnight, but close to overnight. Overnight's not bad. You know, Howard Dean is on the cover of magazines, raised more money than anybody else in 2003, is the front runner 3 weeks before the primary in Iowa. And what happened? Or the caucus. And what happens? 3 weeks before the caucus, normal, everyday human beings who have other things to do with their life look up. And they go, wow, he's weird. And from the minute normal people were engaged to the collapse of Howard Dean is about 10 days. That's why he does that scream thing. He went from front runner to you're gone. And the decompression must have been unbelievable. Barack Obama shows up in what, 5 weeks, 3 weeks? I mean, it'd be interesting to track from the Oprah comment, I wish he would run, to his going to Manchester, New Hampshire to a big meeting, and the total coverage and the moment, so you guys could say, okay, it takes how many weeks? Well, here's my proposition. Iowa is January 14th. Work back the number of weeks you think it takes. 3, that would be Christmas. 5, that would be 2 weeks before Christmas. That's the deadline. Or technically, to be honest, work back to the date filing in New Hampshire closes, which is November, I think, 28th. That's the deadline. And then say to yourself, so how long does it take to fill up a ballot in New Hampshire with delegates in the age of telephones and telegraph and email and so forth? And the answer is probably 4 days. So the real deadline's Thanksgiving. But, my God, do you realize how hard it would be to fill Hotline and Drudge and all the talk radio and all the cable channels if the candidates woke up tomorrow morning and said, we'll be back in November? And so just remember, this is a consultant-driven and news media-driven phenomena of no meaning, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing, to paraphrase William Shakespeare. 1 or 2 more questions.